Today we're going to be looking at the various elements of Reason, what it is, how it works, and the various sections in it. So it can be broken up in four main areas. The first area being the area up here, this whole section, which we can access with this slider on the right-hand side. You'll see there's a whole bunch of devices put in there, but when you open a new document, you should come up with a blank screen like this, which is what you'll see. This area we call the rack, and its job is to house all of the devices that we're going to use. So it handles all of the instruments, and this is where all the instruments work together, and we insert the instruments inside Reason. It's supposed to replicate a studio rack down the side here, so when you actually put them in there, they wire themselves in, and it's visually supposed to represent an old school hardware studio. The section down here is called the Arrange window, and the Arrange window deals with all of the data pertaining to where and when we want these sounds to be played. So we arrange over a period of time, using our system of beats and bars, where we want things played in our arrangement. So it's exactly for doing that, arranging your music into a period of time. You can see that I've just taken this one part, which is a synth, and just put it over the first 16 bars of music. These things here are called your left and right locators, and they're used primarily to work on small sections of music and just have them revolve around and around and around so we can get them perfectly right before we move on. Quite often dance music and different sorts of contemporary music is created using computers in this section of creating a loop first and then arranging the piece of music into time later. So here we've got a loop of 4 bars, and we can set our left and right locator points up wherever we want to work on the music. Bars up here. Up here we have our toolbar, which has various tools used to get around this window. Our select tool, which is the most predominant tool, just moves things where we want them. To copy and paste, select, click and hold, and then hit the control button on your QWERTY keypad, and it will just create a replica copy of what you've already got lifted with your mouse. The draw tool draws parts in. Erase tool does just that. A slice tool allows us to cut up our parts if we don't want a certain section playing over the bar. A magnifying tool allows us to get in and have a look. We can magnify and zoom right in. These buttons up here allow us to do the same thing but manually. And our hand tool just moves to various parts of the screen. We can either, with our magnifying tools down here on various parts on the bottom and the right hand side of the Arrange window, we can click just once on the plus or minus magnifying glass, which will take us back 1 degree of zoom, or we can grab this bar down here, which lets us quickly zoom in or zoom out of various parts of the bar. Here we have what we call our tracks, and these are representations of exactly what we've got up here in our rack. So every time that I create something in my rack, by going to the Create menu, it will bring up a control out lane down here, or a track lane, which I can then start to compose my piece of music on. So up here is the sound, down here is when it's going to be played and how, your arrange page. It actually doubles as a second type of page, which is an edit page, which allows us to get inside these parts that we have here. So if I select that and move my cursor to there, you'll see I can get right in and have a look, if we can find it, at what's going on in that part. Try that again. So this is what's inside that section of music and making it sound like it does. is actually the synth part playing. But I could do the same thing with my drums if I copy them down here to track. Where if I went in and had a look at the drums, I could see how they're working. My hi-hat, my kick drum, my snare. Right. The next section we're going to have a look at is down here, and this is our transport bar. Now the transport bar does what transport does in real life. It gets you from one place to another. So it rewinds us or fast forwards us to various sections of the song. Stops when we're playing, plays when we're stopped, and you can also go into record when you're going to use your MIDI controller to record various parts. This loop on and off works in unison with the left and right locators. So if this is on, this is going to loop these 4 bars of music over and over and over so I can work specifically on them. You'll see if I put the cursor here on the 4th bar, push play, and turn the loop on, it will snap it back and go back to the 1st bar, and it will do that forever. If I turn it off, it's just going to go straight through and not play for me. Now if I turn it back on, I have to push the cursor back inside the left and right locators for it to loop correctly. So we're working on that small part music. The other important thing to look at here is your tempo bar, which deals with the speed of the track. Again, if we played it, changed our tempo by clicking on the little arrows just next to it, it's going to slow the track down, this time by 20 beats per minute. The last part we're going to have a look at is our tool window. And our tool window allows us to access little functions inside Reason that you can access through the edit windows in various ways, but it's like a quick way of doing a variety of things. The device menu lets you just drag devices in, a visual representation of the device, into the rack. The tool menu lets you do various things inside your parts with MIDI and quantize and transpose and things that we'll get into later. And groove has to do with different sorts of quantize, which again we'll talk about later. So it's a quick way of getting various functions from Reason and performing them quickly, so you're not restricted with your flow and your thinking about the music and not so much about the technical aspects of it.